afternoon. I am Mary Anglade. I'm the founder of Builder Lead Marketing, and I'd like to welcome you to AI and SEO for builders, how home buyers are finding and choosing builders in 2026. I'd like to start off with a few questions. If you can just think through, have you used AI in the last 30 days? And that could be ChatGPT, it could be a Google AI search, Claude, Perplexity. And have any of you been asked, how do we get found on ChatGPT? Or worse, why aren't we being listed in ChatGPT? Have you noticed that Google results look different in the last month? And are you really not sure about what to do with all these changes and wondering how it's affecting your business and your leads and your sales? Sorry, for some reason, my computer is not letting me turn the page, but we will get there. Just see, there we go. Oh. It's a live webinar. So AI is answering questions, it's reducing clicks and traffic to your website, and it's giving answers to prospects you didn't even know were searching. So that is the reality of today. And the reason why all this matters is that, if you are a buyer, you can get a short list of builders, or I know I may have some home service providers on here as well. And you won't even see that traffic to your website. You won't even know that you're coming up or if you're not coming up. So it is affecting people's businesses today. So we are going to jump into all of this during this webinar. I'm going to briefly introduce myself. We're going to talk a little bit about how buyers behave today. And then we're going to get into the heart of the matter, which is what is SEO, what is AEO, what is GEO? A lot of jargon, but I will explain it rather simply. We'll get into, how it's impacting business and your business, how it's changing SEO, and what you need to do about these changes. We'll wrap up with a special offer. So as I mentioned, my name is Mary Anglade. I'm the founder of Builder Lead Marketing. I have over 25 years of experience in general management and marketing. I've worked for very large corporations as well as startups, nonprofits, and I started my own agency in 2012. And Builder Lead Marketing was an offshoot of that after we had acquired a number of builder clients and realized, there are similarities amongst all the builders, very long buying journey and high consequence purchase. So Builder Lead Marketing was born. We help builders, stick builders, but also a lot of modular builders and manufacturers as well. I was a speaker at the Modular Home Builders Association this past year. I may have met you. And I am also the author of the Modular Builder Marketing Master Plan, which is available on Amazon, or if you contact me, I will send you a copy. I am also a podcast host. We recently launched the Builder Lead podcast, so you can find that on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Please do subscribe. We do weekly episodes. I also have some experience in finance. My early years were as a lender in the Garment Center in New York City. I worked for a very large bank and really learned, the ins and outs of finance, cash flow, and I, as well as my entire team, bring a very results-oriented approach to marketing. We understand what's really important is sales and profits, and that your marketing needs to be a driver there. It's not marketing for marketing's sake. As I mentioned, this is the podcast, this is the book. Also, if as you're listening to this webinar should be about 40 minutes or so, that you would just like to get some help you can scan that QR code and you can book some time with me or with one of my colleagues, and we will look at your marketing, how it's going, how it's not going, and we'll talk about your business. No obligation, but if you would like to chat, we're happy to do that. So every month, we are doing webinars on the accelerated growth model. We are tackling SEO, and as you can see, we have added AEO and GEO to that today. You can scan this QR code, and that'll take you to YouTube, where we have a lot of the past webinars, as well as some shortcuts. Our podcast is there too. And next month, we will be holding a webinar on Google Ads. So like everything you need to know about Google Ads as a builder. Not this again. So the accelerated growth model, as I mentioned, is really, it's a system, and that's why, you know, we've been organizing content around it. We are tackling organic today, but holistically, you really want to look at your marketing. These are kind of the main categories. And, you know, you want to drive traffic, leads, awareness. We'll get into some of this, but you also want to make sure your online home, your website is properly optimized, presenting you in the best light, and then also just optimizing your results as you move forward. So just kind of to think about that as we tackle the SEO portion today. So let's just spend a moment on today's buyer. Please take a moment to think about who your ideal target is. Get a clear picture of that person. We have a lot of materials. Our January and December webinars were all about creating a marketing plan for 2026. There's a whole section in there about the target. So you really want to have a clear idea who that is. And the other thing you really want is to have an idea of how people are behaving today. You know, modern buyer behavior has changed. And the question is, have you changed to adapt? I think sometimes when we talk to builders, you know, they're not necessarily aware of some of these important, you know, shifts in buyer behavior. So the first thing is people are online. This is where they're starting their home buying journey. And it's 97%. This is from the National Association of Realtors study of online behavior. So now they may have been looking for an existing home, but of course, sometimes that morphs into building a home. This included, if you dig into this study, 87% of people over the age of 75. So this isn't just the millennials or the kids. This is across all the age groups. So 97% was an average. It's actually even higher for the younger folks. But 87% of people over the age of 75 started their home buying journey online, according to this study. Fortune reported that Americans are spending over 7 hours a day online. I think, you know, again, some of our builder clients, that's probably not true for their lives, because, you know, they are really out in the field more. But the reality is your clients, if you're selling to business people, lawyers, people who work in offices, if that's part of your target, they are online. And so you also should ask yourself, how are you showing up to them online? Is your website modern, fresh, or, you know, have you not updated it, and you have old promotions running or old press releases, that kind of thing. So I also just, that's not the topic of today's webinar, but please do think about that because it's very important. The last stat I want to share with you is that this is from a number of research companies, Forrester, Google, where 70% of the buying journey is complete before somebody actually picks up the phone or wants to meet with a salesperson. So again, you really just have to think about how are you visible to these people online. And SEO is a big part of it, which of course we are jumping into. Before we do, just again, this is the classic sales funnel. You know, how do people find out about you, you know, as they move their way through these various stages where you end up finally with a buyer or a really hot prospect, right? So awareness, are they interested in building a home, and so now they're on Google and they're looking they're looking on ChatGPT, the things we're really going to dig into today. So you just want to think about that, and what is your marketing at all of those stages, because you don't really know where somebody stands. Maybe they've been doing this assessment and research for a long time and they're very close to choosing a builder. You don't know, but you want to have content and you want to have marketing that's appropriate for each of these stages. Uh, Last framework here is just inbound marketing. This is from a company called HubSpot, but it also just kind of outlines how people really find out and do their research today, how they become, move from strangers to visitors to your website. Hopefully you have content on there where you can capture their email, nurture them, inform them, become the authority, and they end up buying from you and becoming a brand evangelist. So again, all of this is happening online for the most part. And where does, SEO, pay-per-click, all AEO, GEO, which is, again, we'll get into that. These are definitely in the awareness stage when people are doing their research. But of course, they are also likely when they are in all stages, moving through that buying journey, probably getting very granular in the consideration and the decision-making stages. Okay, so let's now really get into the heart of the matter. So what's going on? Gartner predicts a 25% drop in search volume to websites in 2026 as search is shifting more and more to AI. Okay, so you may have already seen a drop in your organic traffic to your website, or noticed, maybe even a fall off in leads or forms filled out, clicks to call. So here, Gartner research is showing this is what they're predicting. Google AI overviews are becoming, a bigger and bigger part. They are already reached 2 billion on a monthly basis. And AI engines are, now we have millions of searches every single day, and that's growing. So what is, SEO, AEO, and GEO? Okay, so not to get tangled up in the marketing jargon, but SEO, and I am going to get into a little bit deeper on what these things are, but clearly, SEO, it stands for search engine optimization. It's about getting found on Google, on Bing, on the search engines with links. So somebody finds you, they click and go to your website or a landing page, as the case may be. AEO, which is answer engine optimization, is about being chosen. So when these platforms are going out, they're looking for an answer to get back to somebody. This could even be a voice like a Siri, who's the best builder in my area. They're going out, they're searching, and they're coming back with an answer. You want to be the answer. And GEO, that's the ChatGPT, that's, the perplexities, the clothes. And that's about getting mentioned. So when somebody is in a ChatGPT and they're searching, you come up as one of the results. So, to kind of summarize it, what do you really want in all three of these platforms? For SEO, you want to show up on the first page of the results for your keywords. So now, I also would like to mention, before we dig too much into SEO, if you're really just starting with, like, you don't even really know what SEO is, I am going to cover that, but I have an entire webinar on YouTube that goes through really the basics. So I encourage you to look at that. It's SEO for home builders, and we go over top 10 questions. But, we are going to cover some of this today. AEO, again, you want to be the answer, and GEO, you want to show up, and you want to show up consistently. Now, the reality is, as I'm going to share with you, in some cases, this may or may not be possible at this stage, but we are going to address increasing your odds, especially on the GEO end of things. All right, so let's start, again, just real basic. What is SEO? I'm going to cover this briefly. It's the process of improving your website's visibility in the search engines. The biggest search engine is Google. That is where most of the searching happens. But there's also Bing, there's Yahoo, there's DuckDuckGo. There's a lot of smaller ones too. And, you want to show up at the top. So again, I like to make these webinars practical. Open up Google and put in, best home builder, and then put your, top geographic area and see who comes up. Do you come up? Okay, so, because that is a typical search. That's a top search, longer tail search that people are using to look for builders. So I put this in for, best home builder, North Palm Beach, Florida. So now what you're seeing with search results is you're getting the AI overview. Why is this happening? It's because, Google has built AI in, Bing, the other ones have too. They don't really want you to go over to ChatGPT. They want to keep you on Google where they can show you ads, and that's where they make money, right? So they are, going out and they are summarizing. And this is why, in some cases, people are not going to your website because they get the answer right here. Now, hopefully you will be cited in the AI summary. The other thing that we're seeing, Google owns YouTube. So over on the right, you'll see they are prioritizing video. If you don't have a YouTube channel, we highly recommend you have a YouTube channel and you put some quality videos out there, and you optimize them. So, you have a chance of showing up here. So what you'll see now is you can dive deeper in AI mode. So if you click on that, then it's showing you some of the, the sources that it was going to pull for this particular search. So Dreamstar Custom Homes is one of them. And it is looking at things like reviews. It's looking at your site, how well you rank, the authority. Are you putting out quality content? So these are all things that help you with SEO, but they're also helping you in the AI summaries. Then you have the map pack. So map pack is really important for local intent searches. A lot of clicks happen here. These numbers are always changing because they've changed the way these are formatted, but typically it's over 40%. So again, it's important to have an optimized Google My Business profile to get yourself some good reviews. If you just make it part of your process, you've built the house, you go and you ask somebody for a review, just, train your sales team. If it's not you doing this, make it easy. QR code on a business card, send them an email, congratulate them on their new home while they're still in that sort of, joyful stage would be a great time. And then what you're seeing finally, now, this looks a lot longer, but if it's on your big computer screen, it's not necessarily 3 or 4 pages in, but we're finally getting to the organic results. So RJM Custom Homes, they are coming up top for a home builder. They have optimized their website. They likely have fresh content. They have meta tags. They have their headings are properly tagged. Some of this you can do on your own. There's an app called Yoast SEO. That's it's actually not an app, a plugin for WordPress and for other websites. In our case, we have professionals that this is all they do all day long. Is they're doing ongoing SEO maintenance on our client sites. We are consistently blogging. We're consistently putting out good content. We're looking for inbound links. That's another thing that's really going to help you with your SEO. One tip, join your local Chamber of Commerce. Those tend to really help you locally when you are, looking for links. They'll give you a link and then they'll put it on their website going back to your website. So before I get off the topic of SEO, and this is kind of a quick primer on SEO before we get into the AI angle of it, but SEO is typically your best quality of traffic. Think about it. Somebody is searching. They are, very engaged. They are looking for answers versus, let's say, I see an ad, could be on TV, could be on Facebook. You're interrupting my day, right? The SEO, somebody is really in that frame of mind, and that's why the traffic is so good. And typically you'll see it. You're going to get higher page views, you're going to get greater engagements. You'll likely get more leads from SEO than, say, your other traffic sources. But it is a long-term play. It's probably going to take at least 6 months to really see the results. The good news is it's a gift that keeps on giving. You could even have one really great blog post. You wrote it once, maybe you paid a writer to do it, or internally wrote it. And for years to come, you could be getting great traffic to that. So, we highly recommend, after you've, really optimized your website, like for conversion, it looks great. You've got professional photography, the design is good. You should optimize your website. And then you want to do monthly SEO maintenance, as well as fresh content. So that's kind of just SEO basics. Let's move on to AEO. So AEO is answer engine optimization. So it's optimizing for direct answers. This could be in, an AI search. It could also be, like I said, even Siri, put in that same best home builder, North Palm Beach, Florida, see what they come up with. So what they're looking for is the answers, not, it's these three different AEO, GEO, and SEO. There's a lot of similarities, and sometimes what works for one will work for the others, but it's not 100% true, because you are looking for a different objective, as we started off saying. So here's an AEO example. Somebody is asking, how long does it take to build a modular home? And then, Copilot is just coming up with the answer. Now, in an ideal world, you want to be listed below as a source. So then you're starting to build kind of just brand recognition and authority. I'm happy to see one of our clients is listed there. But it's, really thinking about what are people asking questions and coming up with the answer and making it easy to be chosen for the answer. And then we get into GEO. And again, GEO is your ChatGPTs, your Claude, your Perplexities. This is where kind of all the hype is. I was at IBS last week, and I would say the theme certainly around marketing was around, how do you get found in AI engines and GEO, and how is it impacting SEO? So we're really going to dig into this now. First of all, GEO stands for Generative Engine Optimization, and it's about optimizing your website, your brand, your digital footprint, so that they're included and they're recommended in these engines like the ChatGPTs and the Perplexities. They pull from multiple sources, which we will get into, again, kind of trying to answer that, how do you get found? So, here, let's just use an example. The user says, best modular builders for luxury homes in, Westchester, New York. AI goes out and it's researching. It is looking at reviews. So again, reviews are really important. It's looking in directories. It loves sources like Reddit. So if there's a way for you to participate in Reddit authentically, then that is something to take into account. Sites like Wikipedia, which may or may not make sense to have a page on Wikipedia, it's going out and it's searching for this, and it can kind of figure out, how are the reviews? If you don't have any Google reviews, but you have all the reviews on your website, the Google reviews are going to be worth more because it's, third party. It's not you talking about yourself. It is really going to be looking for authority signals. It's going to be looking for how quickly your website loads. Now, don't get rid of all your images. Images are important for home builders because it's such a visual purchase. But, we want to have common sense because even though we want to be found in like a ChatGPT, you also want to have a good user experience and give people what they want because they want to look at your beautiful homes. So if we kind of just take a real summary, we look at the goals across SEO, AEO, and GEO. We want to be found, right? Just really kind of high level, but you can take a look because each one is a little bit different. And people, the results look different, right? So, you know, SEO is click-based. It's listing your website. Somebody is going to the website. Hopefully you are on the first page. Hopefully you're the first rank for your top keywords. People generally don't go to the second and third pages. I mean, it really drops off significantly. If they can get an answer with that first result, they're going to get it. This is where they're seeing the drop in search volume. Something like a weather.com, where I could just say, what's the weather in North Palm Beach, Florida? Google answers me. I don't need to go to weather.com anymore. So it really kind of depends on the type of website you have and the type of business you're in. We haven't seen huge drop-offs for our clients in SEO. And fortunately, we're seeing that they are listed in the AI summaries for Google in most cases, especially our bigger clients that can produce content and can, put some of the effort into it because it does take effort. What are you trying to optimize? SEO, it's keywords. What are your top keywords? You need to put those into your blog post, into your site, links from places like the Chamber of Commerce, your associations, backlinks, that will increase your authority. So all of a sudden Google is crawling. These are robots. They're looking for signals that you are the best source. They want to give the best answer because if they keep giving bad answers, somebody's going to go over to Bing and they're going to lose their competitive advantage. And then, with AEO, you really want to think about leading with answers first. So, anticipating the question and creating some content on your website that does that. And then GEO, they are also doing the same thing like my example showed, but it's not exact. They're all operating a little bit differently. But hopefully, if you're optimizing across all of these, you're getting clicks to your website, your content is listed at the top for the answer, and your brand is referenced in the ChatGPT. All right, so is Google just no longer relevant? Google versus ChatGPT. And by the way, there's other, ChatGPT I think is one of the most popular, well-known, but obviously there's Claude, there's other ones too. So should you forget it? This is a big money grab right now, right? Google and all these other search engines, they're coming up with their own AI because they don't want you to go over to the ChatGPTs of the world. They want to be able to kind of have that experience within Google. So even though, ChatGPT and the other GEO are, growing, Google is still the 800-pound gorilla. We have billions of searches. It's, almost 8 times. This changes every day. This was as of, 2 days ago. So, ChatGPT is increasing, as are the other AI engines. But Google is also not going away and remains an enormous platform where people are doing most of the searching. And you have to remember they also own YouTube, which is also a search engine, but it's just giving you video results. So this also just shows that search is not going away. This is showing, the percent of Americans that are frequent users of the traditional search engines versus the AI tools. And that light blue is 10 or more visits a month. It's huge versus the light pink, 10 or more for the AI tools. So, this is from a very recent study. And again, I think we will see that light pink. We'll see the AI. That's going to grow over time. But right now, do not ignore SEO. Do not ignore Google. It really is still the biggest. So let's get to the heart of the matter. Why aren't I showing up in ChatGPT? Well, there has been some very, very interesting research as to consistency of results in ChatGPT and the other AI engines. Um, Rand Fishkin and his team ran a study. They put in almost 3,000 prompts into ChatGPT, and there was very little consistency of the results. So they're putting in the same prompt, and they're doing this for a number of different brands, and they're getting different answers. So when Great Aunt Sally asks you, why aren't I showing up in ChatGPT? Now, these platforms are in their infancy. This could change over time, but they are going out, they're looking to answer the person's question. They're also tailoring it to you. If you're a user of ChatGPT, over time you train it and it knows what you want versus somebody else. So something like rank in SEO means something. Pretty consistently, you can see whether or not you're showing up for your keywords. At least at this point in time, it really isn't meaningful in ChatGPT and the other AI engines. So, it's just not transparent. This may change. ChatGPT, it's been reported by Adweek that they are going to take advertising on their free versions. It's a $200,000 minimum budget. And the thinking in the marketing community is that this may lend some transparency as to what is really going on. But at the moment, there really just isn't that consistency. So you can go back to your offices and tell everyone, you didn't see us show up in ChatGPT, but that doesn't mean somebody else isn't seeing us. And what do you do about it, most importantly? So the good news is, if your website is properly optimized for SEO, so again, you have on the back end, you've got your meta descriptions, you've got your headings properly, created, you've got your alt image tags done, you have inbound links from other websites that have authority, you're putting out fresh content. We recommend blogging at least twice a month and then optimizing that content. The good news is that should pay off, not just for your SEO, but it will help you in the GEO and the AEO. So kind of just a summary slide of some of the things that I just mentioned. Why does it help? It's just easier because you're signaling what you're all about. You're making it easier. So again, it's will work, but it's not 100% like, oh, I'm doing SEO, I don't need to think about GEO or AEO. No, there are tweaks you have to do. It isn't 100%, but it is going to increase your odds of being found in the other engines and the AI, the GEO engines like ChatGPT. So things to keep in mind: AI engines, they don't work like Google's ranking system. Okay, so SEO, the way you're ranking there, that's just not how it works. They're synthesizing answers from multiple sources, and the answers, as we saw from that research, may be different depending on the prompt, depending on the person. They prefer third-party sources to your website, and something like PR is becoming, I think, even more important. Not that it wasn't ever not important, but because they're looking at those third-party sources. And for all of these, you want to prioritize fresh content. And if it makes sense, if you're a big enough organization, you have enough to talk about, you may want to consider creating a Wikipedia page. So here's just a nice optimization checklist for your ChatGPTs. If you're thinking about, how do I structure this content? Again, some of this is just the same thing you're doing, like your H2, H3, your heading hierarchies. You're doing that for SEO anyways. Leading with direct answers, adding FAQ, sections. If you don't already have it, it should be robust. Really think about the user too. Like I keep wanting to emphasize, don't don't, throw out the baby with the bathwater. Like you're trying to optimize for all this, and you forget about the person who's actually uh, on your website. You want to make sure that you're answering the kind of questions they're asking, you're offering good content, it's fresh. So the basics really haven't changed, I think, is kind of the bottom line of it. And again, something like imagery is super important. It may make your site load a little bit more slowly, but you don't want to remove beautiful photos of your homes. So if at this point you're thinking, this is great, but I would really like some help with SEO, with GEO, with AEO, or with marketing in general, you can scan that QR code. You can reach out to me directly. That's my email. Or you can go to our website, to our contact page. We offer complimentary assessments, and we usually just start with like a 15-minute call, just chat with you and kind of find out about you. We'll take a look at your competition. We'll look at how you're ranking. We do have a tool that can see how you're doing in GEO. And no obligation, you'll get a nice report regardless and get some good information. I'd like to thank all of you for taking time out of your busy day to learn about SEO, to learn about AI, and I hope you found this helpful. Please follow us on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Builder Lead Marketing. You can find me on LinkedIn. I would love to connect. Again, we do have these monthly webinars, and we have a lot more information on our website. We have, blog posts, and some of our most popular webinars are there. I'd also like to thank the Modular Home Builders Association for helping us promote the website, and thank all of you again for attending. I hope you have a great rest of your day.